likes us or is into us or wants a future with us. And this book is going to give you signs and red flags of whether your partner is into you or he's just basically drifting and wasting your time. So go to Amazon and download the Kindle free trial membership. Doesn't cost you anything. And check it out. It may help you. Okay? And have a great day. Hi, you guys, and welcome to Dating Advice. This is Yaz. Tonight I'm going to talk about covert and overt narcissists. I love this topic, you guys, because there's so many people out there that are narcissists. And I've podcasted on narcissists before, but now I'm going to differentiate between the two types of narcissists that are around us. And a lot of times people don't recognize that they are dealing with a narcissist, whether they're a covert narcissist or an overt narcissist, okay? A covert narcissist is somebody that's a little bit more underhanded, sneaky, manipulative, okay? And they don't really show their colors that easily, okay? So when you're dealing with a covert narcissist, you won't recognize it right away. You're going to start to question yourself, all right, when you're dealing with them. Let's say you're arguing with them and the first thing you got to recognize, okay, is when you have an argument with somebody, all right, and you know that you're right in the argument, if they're going to flip it onto you, in a lot of cases, you're dealing with a narcissist. Now, there's two types of narcissists, the covert and the overt. An overt narcissist is more blatant, okay? They will put you down publicly. They will put you down privately. They have no problem showing their hand and putting you down. They could say, oh, you look fat, or you're the problem, and they come out with what's on their mind. They have no problem saying what's on their mind and putting you down in any way they can, all right? Because you have to understand how narcissists are, all right? Narcissists always want the admiration, okay? They want the power, they want the admiration, and they will do anything they can to be on top in the relationship, all right? To have that power and put you down any way they can. And then you have the covert narcissist. I think the covert narcissist can be a lot more deadly than an overt narcissist, because an overt narcissist, you pretty much know what you're dealing with in a lot of instances, because they say what's on their mind. They put it out there when you have an argument with them, or not even when you have an argument with them, all right? But when you're dealing with the covert narcissist, they can be very manipulative, all right? And a lot of people have them in their families, all right? It could be siblings, it could be a mother, it could be a father, it could be even in friends or coworkers, all right? A lot of times there's covert narcissists in the work world, all right? In other words, these type of people will try to put you down in a very manipulative way to other people to raise themselves up, all right? So it's very hard to really see these type of people. And what they do is even though you're right in a lot of instances, they're going to try to prove that you're wrong, all right? They're going to flip it. And the way you deal with these people, okay, is that you always stick to the facts. You stick to the facts, all right? Because people lie, but facts don't lie. And sometimes when you're dealing with a narcissist, you could be telling them straight on, okay, with all your facts about something that you're arguing about, and they'll still tell you you're wrong, all right? And the thing you have to remember is you don't want to back off from a narcissist initially. You want to hold your ground, have your self-worth, say what you have to say, okay? But when you feel that you're not winning in the argument, because you're not going to win with a narcissist will rarely acknowledge that you're right. A narcissist will rarely own up to being wrong, okay? And a lot of times we sit there and we blame ourselves, and we know the facts. We know about the argument, okay? And yet we sit there and we question our sanity and we say, am I wrong? So if you're sitting there and you had an argument with your partner or somebody you're dating, right? And you know basically that what you're saying is right, and this person is just refuting everything you're saying and telling you you're crazy, you don't know what you're talking about, okay? In a lot of instances, you're dealing with a narcissist, all right, who won't own up to their part, okay? Narcissists have no empathy, all right? They don't care so much about your feelings. They care more about their inflated egos, all right? They want their egos inflated any way that they can. And an overt narcissist will come out, okay? A lot of times they can be very abusive, even physically or emotionally, all right? Whereas a covert narcissist will be more manipulative. In other words, they will give you a compliment in a underhanded way, okay? They will give you a compliment, for instance, and say, oh, if you ask them, how do I look tonight? Although you shouldn't ask anybody how you look, because you don't need self-validation from somebody, because you need to have your own validation, all right? I did a podcast on this, all right? We don't need others to validate us, okay? Because when you ask for somebody else's validation, you lose your power, you lose your self-worth. So you want to hold your power, all right? But let's just say you're in an instance where you're dealing with your partner and you're going out and you want them to acknowledge that you look good. And you might say to them, how do you like this dress on me? How do you think it looks? And they say, oh, it looks nice, but it would look better if you lost 10 pounds. It'd look even better, okay? That's an underhanded kind of half a compliment, all right? So they're giving you a compliment, but on the other hand, they're also putting that doubt to put you down, okay? That's what a covert narcissist does, all right? Or a covert narcissist is the kind that won't come out and talk about the problem, okay? They're good for sweeping things under the rug and then kind of paying you back a different way, maybe by making you look uncredible to other people, all right? They won't come out and tell you if they have a problem with you. They could, try to put you down in other ways by inflating themselves or put you down to other people. And covert narcissists, are very sneaky, very manipulative, all right? So you have to really go by your emotions. If you're dealing with somebody, and I don't care who it is, it could be your partner, it could be a family member, it could be a coworker. If you're feeling a certain way because of somebody, guess what? You're dealing with a toxic person, all right? And you have to really look at that individual and try to, distinguish what is it about them? Why are they making me feel this way? Okay? Why? A person should lift you up. Your partner should lift you up. If you're dealing with somebody who is not lifting you up, and this could be anybody, like I said, this could be a family member, this could be a coworker. If they're not lifting you up and you haven't done anything wrong, all right, then you're dealing with a toxic person in a lot of ways, okay? And those people that have to cut you down, they cut you down because they have no self-worth, all right? They feel very inferior. So their way of making themselves feel better is by putting you down, okay? And there's a lot of people that have friendships like that as well, okay? We all have friends that we think are friends that really aren't necessarily our friend, okay? They're good sometimes to talk to, but then you have to worry. They put you down maybe in front of your partner. They might throw a dig here or there, and say whatever they're going to say, oh, you should see their car or something that's going to put you down, like give you a compliment and then put you down as well, all right? The bottom line is this. Know how these people make you feel, all right? If somebody is making you feel a certain way and they're not making you feel good, all right? Or, you feel that stress when you see them, or you feel that stress when the phone rings, you know that you're dealing with a toxic person. And then you have to distinguish, what is it about them? Are they a covert narcissist? Okay. Are they sneaky, manipulative, always try to play the good guy? Maybe they try to play the victim and make you out to be the bad guy. There's a lot of people like that, you guys. A lot of people. You could be dealing with a covert narcissist, all right? They always, they're nice to your face and everything like that, but then they put you down in a slighted way and you don't realize it, all right? Because they're so calculating about it. And they do it, to other people, maybe for other people's, admiration or whatever it is. But you have to understand something. They're the ones with the deficiency, not you. They're the ones with the problem. They're the ones with the inferiority complex. And this is why I always podcast about how you have to have your self-worth, all right? You don't need to give a fuck about what anybody else says to you. You have to know that you are who the hell you are and that nobody needs to validate you. And as long as you know what you're talking about, you have to know what you're talking about now, all right? You have to know the facts. If you stick to the facts, it doesn't matter what these other people say, okay? You could get into it with them. You could call them out on something. You could say whatever you have to say, and they're going to argue it back, all right? Don't back down. They're going to argue it back. But when you see that, you're not making any connection with these people, okay? And in a lot of instances, you're not going to connect with them because they will not acknowledge that you're right, all right? Because by them acknowledging that you're right, it makes them feel more inferior and takes away from their power, okay? So understand that it's not you, it's them, all right? So you say what you have to say, you put the facts out there, you stick by your argument, you don't back down, you don't get emotional, okay? You don't question yourself or put yourself down. You say what you have to say and let them come back with whatever they have to come back with. You let them come back with whatever they have to come back with, okay? And if you see that they're flipping it on you and saying, I don't know what you're talking about, I don't know why you feel that way, the problem must be with you, you're not seeing it right or something like that, and you've made yourself clear and you've stuck to the facts, then you know what? You don't go back and forth and argue with them. You let it be and you walk away, okay? Because we don't argue with people like that. We don't argue with stupid, all right? Or people that, they're not necessarily stupid. We don't argue with people that try to manipulate us, all right? We walk away from toxic people. How do we deal with toxic people? We don't deal with them, okay? We walk away and we know our self-worth. This is how we deal with these type of people. But the reason that I'm podcasting is because about this topic is because there are so many people like that. And a lot of reasons why these people become either a covert narcissist or an overt narcissist, okay, is because as they were growing up, they felt like they didn't have control. It could be in their childhood, okay? Maybe they came from a childhood that was volatile, or they didn't have control growing up. And later on in life, they need that control, okay? And this is how they do it, okay? There's a lot of different kinds of toxic people in the world, all right? You're going to see that, through life and in experience. But tonight, I'm primarily talking about the covert, the more secretive, manipulative type of person, that will, not own up. A narcissist never owns up to their flaws. Never, very rarely will say you're right. And the overt narcissist who will just blatantly come out and tell you, okay, that you're wrong and put you down, okay? They're not as sneaky as the covert narcissist that's more underhanded, okay? And will kind of make you look, like you're crazy and everything like that. you're not crazy. You have to understand that. Know who you're dealing with. That is the key to life. Always know the type of people you are dealing with. Study people, you guys. Study their relationships. Study how they react to other people. It's like when you're getting to know somebody and you go out on a date. Notice how they react to people in their environment, whether you're out at a restaurant or how they react to their own family members. This gives you insight as to what type of person you're dealing with. Do they have a short temper? Okay. Are they emotional? All right. Can they be open? Can they understand your feelings, or can you communicate with them? In order to have a healthy relationship with somebody, no matter what that relationship is, whether it's your partner, whether it's your family members, whether it's your friends, whether it's your coworkers, you have to know how to communicate. Okay. They always say communication is key. All right. And know whether that person is able to take what you have to say and understand it, or if they're just going to shoot you down in everything that you say, okay, and try to bring down your self-worth. They're right, you're wrong. They don't understand anything that you have to say because they don't have an open mind, or they won't acknowledge any flaws in themselves, okay? Narcissists don't want to acknowledge any flaws, okay? Because they have that fragile ego. They need that admiration of being told how wonderful they are, that constant feed supply, all right? They use people for their own benefit, okay? Narcissists, in a lot of ways, are users, okay? They'll use you for whatever benefit is to them. A lot of times, and especially with covert narcissists, they just want to be around you when you're some benefit to them, okay? If you're not a benefit to them, then they have no use for you, all right? So you got to keep this in mind when you're dealing with people. You have to study people and understand that, and especially when you're dealing in relationships. And you have to understand, and see, this is where a lot of people, they go crazy because they don't realize that they're dealing with a narcissist or they're dealing with a toxic person, and they say, "Oh my goodness, I'm fighting with my partner all the time. We go back and forth. They just won't listen to one word I have to say." Okay, they're always right. They're always telling me I'm wrong, even though I'm showing them the facts of everything. They still won't acknowledge it. Well, guess what? You could be dealing with a narcissist. And when you're dealing with a narcissist, it's a no-win battle. You cannot win with a narcissist except if you walk away and hold your worth. Okay? You don't go toe-to-toe with them, all right? You say what you have to say, all right? You don't live in fear of them, where you have to constantly go silent. You say what you have to say, but if you find that this person will not communicate and acknowledge your side of the argument, then you have to step back and say, you know what? I am not going to engage with this person because this person does not have an open mind. This person is not owning their part in the argument. They're not owning that they're partly to blame. Okay, I know how frustrating it is to deal with somebody that will not own that they're at fault. Okay, and it's literally impossible to have a healthy relationship with somebody, okay, if they can't own up to the fact that, okay, maybe they haven't done the right thing, all right? Maybe they haven't helped you out in the house, all right? Or maybe they haven't called you like they should have called you. And instead, they're just trying to say, well, I don't know why you're upset. I don't know why you're upset. That's you, I don't know what, they're going to try. And then you're going to sit there and you're going to question yourself and say, well, maybe I expected too much from them. No, you have your standards. Know your standards of what is acceptable and what isn't, all right? And in most cases, the general person knows what's acceptable and what isn't. Don't start sitting there and flip-flop and question yourself and say, well, I don't know, maybe I've been unreasonable, maybe I shouldn't have brought up that topic. No, if you brought up that topic, there is a good reason why you brought it up, okay? because it's not meeting with your standards or your boundaries, okay? And if you don't bring it up, it's going to eat away at you as time goes by till you finally either explode or everything just kind of breaks between you and your partner. So you have to have communication, and the other person has to be open to that communication, has to be able to process and acknowledge your point of view, okay, in order to have a successful relationship. But when you're dealing with one of these narcissists, okay, who it's all about them, they're worried about appearances. That's another thing about narcissists, you guys. They're always worried about appearances, how they look in your eyes, how they look in somebody else's eyes, all right? So, they always need that validation. They're the ones who need the validation, but yet they won't give you validation because they're afraid that if they give you any kind of praise, it's taking away from them. And they always want to have the upper hand and the control. So, number one, know who you're dealing with. Number two, decide how you're going to deal with them, and do not go back and forth, toe to toe with them and lower yourself, okay? The more you engaged with the back and forth, arguing back and forth, you could beat a topic to death and still walk away and be like, like this person just isn't getting it, okay? They don't want to get it. They don't want to get it, okay? Because it's all about them. It's all about them. Then you're dealing with the me, selfish type of person that, doesn't acknowledge your point of view. So think about that. State your case. State the facts, all right? Know what you're talking about. Don't just bring up know what you're talking about, all right? So that you could back up what you're saying. And if they can't understand that, then you know what? You walk away and you don't go back and forth. You show them that, I am not going to go back and forth with you, okay? Because you don't want to own up to your part. So I am going to just kind of disengage here, and you walk away and you're showing that person, you know what? I said what I have to say, and you know what? If you can't acknowledge that, let me just walk away till you think about it, all right? And in some cases, people will come to that realization, and in some cases, they won't because they are a toxic person that you're dealing with, all right? But you don't want to keep going toe-to-toe with these kind of toxic people because, like I said, it's a no-win situation. It's like when you're dealing in politics, you guys, and you're dealing, let's say, with Democrats and Republicans. You could show the facts, black and white on paper. These are the facts. And the other party is going to not, because they're so loyal to their own beliefs, okay? They're not even going to take that in, okay? They're not even going to acknowledge that you're right if you're right because they don't want to change their stand, all right? So you could sit there and argue it blue in the face, even in politics, okay? It's the same thing as like in relationships. You could argue it, and sometimes people will stick by what they believe, all right? And they will never acknowledge that they are wrong, okay? And, you have to understand when to not continue the back and forth, all right? And when it's time to walk away and not go toe-to-toe with somebody that doesn't have any good reasoning, all right? Or won't want to acknowledge anything. But I just wanted to make you aware of this, okay, when we're talking about narcissists and stuff like that. And I also wanted to bring up the fact that I find that a huge problem that people have today, and especially when, we're talking about, it doesn't matter whether it's women to men, men to women, partner to partner, okay, is when people don't have their self-worth, all right? Know what you're talking about, all right? Believe in yourself. Be the best person you can, all right? And don't let anybody take that away from you. Don't stop second guessing yourself. Stop second guessing yourself. If you know what you're talking about and you have the facts, believe in yourself, all right? And don't, just because you like somebody, you should not have to lower yourself or your beliefs just so you could be at peace, okay? You have to stick by your beliefs, all right? And believe in what you're saying, and don't let anybody, take that away from you. Don't, there's a lot of people that sit there and say, oh, maybe you're right. Maybe I should rethink it. And even though that person is right, okay, because they want to have peace with whoever they're dealing with. So they take away their self-worth and they'll just say anything to the other party so that that party will accept them. But the thing is, then you're going to have to live like that all the time. You're always going to have to succumb to that other person, when you have a disagreement. So at some point, you have to, hold your ground. Hold your ground. Don't go back and forth if you see it's not going anywhere. And sometimes you're a stronger person to just, stop arguing and just walk away from the argument. All right? And that's how you handle something like that. I hope that helps you. And if you're dealing with somebody that's a narcissist, you're not going to change them. That's the way they are, okay? And you have to recognize it. And you do not want to be around somebody that is always looking for that self-admiration or somebody that's going to make you feel small or take away your self-worth or put you down, because even though you may be in the relationship with them, you're not going to be in a happy, healthy relationship, because you're always going to feel like that person, okay? You're always going to be looking for that validation from that person. And in a lot of cases, narcissists, once they're done with you, will move on to the next person, okay? Because they're all about them and what you could do for them and building up their egos and their self-worth, all right? It's about you. You need to take care of yourself, all right? And when you're dealing in a happy, healthy relationship, that person should complement the relationship and build you up. You should build each other up. That's a healthy relationship. Working together, building each other up, and being able to communicate and hear each other out and compromise. Okay, so recognize that when you're dealing with people. It doesn't matter whether it's relationships, business, family, or whoever it could be, all right? It's just human nature, and understand about it, all right? I hope that helps you. If it did, please hit the subscribe button and share. And if you have any questions, you guys, send your questions to my email at askyaz909@gmail.com, okay? And I'd love to talk about it on one of my podcasts. Have a great night.